Hello, Meoni here. Welcome back to another news video for Final Fantasy XIV, this time continuing our look at interviews to come out of PAX West 2025. This one on the Noisy Pixel website. All of the rights obviously belong to them. I'm reading through this to share with you guys, and a link will be at the top of the description of the YouTube video. Please go and give it some support. This then is all about Naoki Yoshida, and apparently they're not tired of Final Fantasy XIV after 12 years and wants to focus more on game design. So let's have a look at this. There's a few sort of tidbits from this that are quite interesting. They say during PAX West 2025, Noisy Pixel caught up with Final Fantasy XIV producer and director Naoki Yoshida to talk about the MMORPG's current direction, upcoming collaborations, and his long-term outlook for the game and the industry. First of all, they say, for experiencing PAX West in person, Yoshida-san began by reflecting on the atmosphere at PAX West. While he's been more PAX East events over the years, his first experience was actually at PAX West, and he noted how it left a strong impression. Unlike many events in Japan, which tend to be more segmented, he appreciated how tabletop and video game fans come together in one place. He described the streets of Seattle filled with people talking, playing, and sharing their love for games. The energy, as he put it, felt different from the other events. Being recognized and stopped by fans reminded him just how deeply Final Fantasy XIV has resonated with its community. So first off, let's talk about the Monster Hunter crossover. This is set for the September reveal, obviously, for the Monster Hunter side of things, and also October we're getting the Final Fantasy XIV version of that. Says although Yoshida-san couldn't share many specifics, he confirmed that more information about the upcoming Monster Hunter crossover is coming in September. Both Square Enix and Capcom will provide their official details, and fans can expect the announcement to carry some weight. He mentioned that discussions began around Gamescom 2024. The collaboration grew out of a mutual admiration between the two companies and a long-standing friendship. Yoshida-san has known Monster Hunter series producer Ryozo Tsujimoto for over 15 years and has already crossover fandom between the teams. Many Final Fantasy XIV developers are Monster Hunter fans, while members of Capcom's team are dedicated Final Fantasy XIV players. The relationship between the two franchises previously brought Rathalos into Eorzea during a 2018 event. Was it really that long ago? Holy moly. And they continue, with that history in mind, expectations are already rising for what this new collaboration might bring. So next they say expansion planning and team structure. Yoshida-san emphasized the importance of distributing development resources evenly across Final Fantasy XIV. While one part of the team handles the 7.x patch cycle, other groups are focused on event content and planning for future expansions. This approach helps prevent burnout and ensures that each area of the game receives attention. He reassured fans that work on one feature does not come at the cost of others. If or when 8.0 expansion is announced, players can expect that development has been carefully managed in the background without compromising the rest of the content, end quote. It is key to sort of point here. A lot of people seem to think that they approach a piece of content in terms of feedback without really the knowledge of what goes into the work behind it. They'll blame Island Sanctuary for another pieces of content that they dislike, or it seems too focused on this particular individual niche of an audience rather than, you know, this is why we don't have an ultimate, quote unquote. We get that quite a bit. I see that quite often from other content creators and also members of the public. It's just not true. There are separate teams within Square Enix and indeed within, you know, the Business Unit 3, Creative Unit 3 as it's now called, that do separate things. Not everybody works on the same thing. There is some overlap, quite obviously, but I don't think there's anything that like pushes something else that's major back, right? I don't think the casualized content such as Island Sanctuary, that kind of thing, or housing or glamour, I don't think that puts aside your ultimate release dates, unfortunately. I think it just takes a lot of time for you, you know, to get those because of the development costs and time. It's not really like the full excuse, but it certainly isn't, you know, because of any other part of the game being there in the first place. at least as far as we can tell, and Yoshi P seems to be reflecting that here. So, yeah. A practical approach to game development. When asked whether he ever feels bored or burnt out, Yoshida-san gave a candid answer. He sees himself first and foremost as a developer employed by Square Enix, with a responsibility to deliver quality games. While some creators may seek personal expression above all else, Yoshida-san focuses on building something for the players. That doesn't mean there aren't parts of the job he would like to do less. He admitted he would rather step away from operational duties and spend more time focused on design. Even so, he has no plans to leave Final Fantasy XIV behind. There are still goals he wants to reach and ideas he wants to see realized in the game, end quote. So basically, Yoshi P's going nowhere, fortunately. And it does appear that, you know, things are sort of dragging down. You have to remember, like, so much responsibility does take its toll. I mean, you've seen after the interview periods of time from Gamescom where he basically falls asleep on a sofa. That meme is a meme, but at the end of the day, it is a good reflection on how he must feel with the responsibilities. I think splitting off the responsibilities might be the best way forward for Yoshi P, just in my opinion. But, you know, it's up to the man himself to delegate what he can and try and find the happy medium, be that dropping off of the board of directors at Square Enix and things like that, whatever decisions. These are decisions that are up to him, not us. And personally, I'm glad to see that he's got, you know, fire still in the belly, so to speak, and wants to achieve goals that have yet to be realized. So, yeah, very good to hear. On storytelling in 14 and 16. Yoshida-san also shared his thoughts on storytelling and how he views characters after a game's conclusion. Whether it's the ending of Final Fantasy XVI or a narrative arc in Final Fantasy XIV, he continues to imagine the lives of characters even after their roles have ended. He cited Hien from Doma as one example. While the character no longer appears frequently in the game, Yoshida-san still thinks about what he's doing in the background. That perspective helps guide how characters return or fade from the spotlight based on whether their journey has already been told, end quote. Is this a little bit of foreshadowing, maybe, about Hien? I would love to see, like, the huge, like, dynasty war situation that's supposedly going on with the Far East. I think that's supposed to be happening, isn't it, in the background currently? I could be wrong about that. Isn't there currently, like, a war of succession between, like, a shogunate? I don't know, maybe you can correct me in the comment section, but that would be a really interesting tie into the next expansion. And I do think about the Far East quite a lot personally, and the characters, you know, Yugiri, Lord Hien, Gosetsu, obviously, people like that. So, yeah, I don't think their story is ended, and I would love to see more of them personally. They say, as a final thing here, a message to the community. As Final Fantasy XIV enters its 13th year, Yoshida-san closed the interview by thanking fans for their continued support. He acknowledged the hard work from the team in keeping the game updated and engaging, and expressed his hope to attend more community events when scheduling allows. PAX West may fall close to Gamescom, but he values the opportunity to connect with players in person. Whether it's through in-game content or live appearances, Yoshida-san wants to keep building the connection between the team and the community. Excellent. So yeah, a couple of little bits. Obviously, you know, there's nothing too crazy here, right? There's nothing that's going to blow the doors off of things. We didn't get any finer details. Keeping pretty tight-lipped about the Monster Hunter crossover for obvious reasons, because the implication of another game being involved, right? They don't want to spoil something for the Monster Hunter side, which is going to come first, which I'm super excited for. I can't wait to see how that's going to play out with Omega. That's going to be a lot of fun. That should be coming out soon. We obviously have things like the Tokyo Game Show coming up this next weekend, so it's highly likely that there's going to be some more interviews come out of that, so it'll be interesting. We'll probably get some more you know, finite and very specific sort of interviews and questions being asked. Yeah, when it comes to the game development, though, it would be interesting to see more delegation within the team. I think Yoshi P might be taking on probably more than is necessary, but the pride of the developer and the producer and the director side of things you know, he's doing a decent job. Like, I don't have an issue with that personally. And like I said, like anybody who seems to think that one piece of content is introduced, therefore another suffers, it is not as cut and you know, not as dry as that. It's not as easy to approach that way, opinionated, because of, yes, there is interflow between the various teams within, you know, Creative Unit 3, but at the same time they are separating a lot of things so that they can get the work done better and yeah, on time, right? I'm super excited for the upcoming stuff that's going to come out of Tokyo Game Show, and obviously we'll have some really juicy news from that probably, and I'll cover it to the best of my ability anyway. We still have no release date scheduled for 7.35, so hopefully that's something that gets announced soon. There is also a walk with Yoshi P happening, I think today at the time of recording, on the 18th of September, so we'll have to see if we get some more information from that, because sometimes there are tidbits of information, but I think the majority of the news and big announcements will probably come with the Tokyo Game Show. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Of course, this will be linked in the description of the video. All rights belong to Noisy Pixel, and of course, go give them some love and support, and I'll see you all next time. Let me know what you think about this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.